All right, let's talk about something that I'm pretty sure everyone has dealt with, getting stuck in your own head. But here's a thought. What if the secret to stopping that cycle of overthinking isn't about fighting your thoughts harder? What if it's actually about doing something, well, a lot simpler and honestly a little weird? Today, we're going to walk through this really powerful exercise from Dr. Michael J. Greenberg that teaches you exactly how to get off that mental treadmill for good. So let's jump in. So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at that unstoppable thought loop. Then, I'll give you a simple, kind of strange instruction. We'll use a 2-question test to see if it's working and uncover 6 hidden mental habits that get in the way. After that, we'll practice together, and finally, we'll talk about really getting off that treadmill. All right, section 1, the unstoppable thought loop. So, are you stuck in a mental replay? I mean, you know this feeling, right? There's that one thought, maybe a worry, a mistake you made, a decision you have to make, and it just will not stop playing on a loop. You turn it over and over, you analyze it from every single angle, you're trying to find the solution or just some sense of certainty, and you end up more stressed out than when you started. It's just exhausting. Well, there's a name for this mental spinning. It's called rumination. And here's the key idea from Dr. Greenberg's work that might flip how you think about this. That act of constantly trying to figure it out in your head, that isn't just a symptom of anxiety. It's what creates it. Anxiety is literally the product of all that mental work. Okay, so if figuring it out is the actual problem, what on earth is the solution? This is where things get a little counterintuitive. It all starts with one single, simple instruction. Here it is. Your job is to not try to solve that problem. That's it. That's the whole instruction. Whatever that problem is that you keep chewing on in your mind, your only job is to stop trying to solve it in your head. I know it sounds almost too simple, but trust me, this is the key that unlocks everything.
Now, this is a super important point. This is not about pushing the thought away. You're not trying to suppress it, and you're also not trying to actively keep it in your mind either. The instruction is to just let it be there. The thought can float around in your awareness, that's fine. Your only job is to not engage with it. Don't pick it up. Don't start turning it over. Just let it be.
So, how do you know if you really stopped? Because you might think you've disengaged, but you're still doing it in some subtle way. That's where this brilliant little tool comes in, the 2-question test. Okay, so once you've decided, I'm not going to engage with this thought, you ask yourself 2 really simple questions. First, on a scale of 0 to 10, what's my anxiety level? And second, on a scale of 0 to 10, how much effort am I putting in right now? And believe me, the answers to these 2 questions tell you everything you need to know. So first, let's look at anxiety. Remember how we said anxiety is the product of all that mental work? Well, if that's true, then the moment you genuinely stop doing the work, your anxiety level should drop way down to almost 0. If it's still high, that's a huge clue that you're probably still engaging somehow. And then there's effort. This is absolutely critical. Not ruminating is about not doing something, right? So it should feel completely effortless. If you rate your effort as anything other than a 0, if you feel like you're straining or trying or focusing, that is a dead giveaway that you are still doing something. Success here feels like getting off a treadmill, not like you've just hopped onto a different one. Okay, so what are those some things we might be doing by accident? If your anxiety or your effort scores are still high, it's a pretty good bet that one of these 6 hidden mental habits is the culprit. Yeah, if your effort score is up there, you're probably doing one of these. Ask yourself, are you still secretly trying to figure the problem out? Are you constantly monitoring your thoughts to see if that bad one is still there? Are you kind of bracing yourself, keeping your guard up for it? Are you actively pushing it away? Or are you trying to use some kind of bad distraction or even self-talk to manage it? All of these are just sneaky forms of engagement. I really love this metaphor for keeping your guard up. It's like you're physically leaning against a locked door, bracing for something to burst through. But here's the thing that changes everything. Rumination isn't some tidal wave that just happens to you. It is an action that you do. The door is locked unless you decide to open it. You really can just let go. This is another really common trap, right? We think, okay, to stop thinking about thing A, I have to force myself to think super hard about thing B. But that's still effort. The source material puts it this way. Think of directing your attention as mentally holding on to an object. To let go of what you're holding, you don't need to frantically grab something else. You just open your hand.
Okay, let's make this super practical. We're going to go through a couple of the most common objections and stumbling blocks people run into when they first try this, and we'll see exactly how to respond.
This one is probably the number one thing people say, right? But it just keeps popping into my mind.
And the response to this gets right to the absolute core of the whole exercise. The thought popping in is not the problem. The goal has never been to get rid of the thought itself. Frankly, that's impossible. Your job is just to stop directing your attention towards it when it shows up. So let it be there. Just don't pick it up and start playing with it.
Okay, here's the other big one. Our brains are so wired to do things that the idea of not doing something feels weird and empty. We think, well, what am I supposed to do instead?
And this brings us right back to that fantastic treadmill metaphor. Stopping rumination isn't a task that you need to replace with another task. It's the end of a task. The instruction isn't go find a different treadmill to run on. It's simply get off. And once you're off, you're free. Go live your life. Do literally anything you want, as long as you stay off that one specific treadmill. All right, let's pull all of this together. What is the fundamental shift, the big idea we need to grasp to actually find some mental peace? This is it. This is the whole philosophy in a nutshell. Not ruminating is not doing something. It should feel as effortless as just lying down on your sofa. When you're successfully not ruminating, it shouldn't feel like work at all. It should feel like rest. And this is the feeling you are always aiming for. That sense of relief you get when a really hard workout is finally over. You don't have to immediately start a different workout. You just get to stop. That feeling right there, that's what letting go of rumination feels like. And that's the big question I want to leave you with. In a world that's constantly telling us to do more strategies, more techniques, more mental work, what if the real key to a calmer mind isn't about learning how to do more, but actually learning how to do less? Something to think about, or maybe not to overthink.